Hey guys, it's One Work Bill 300 and I'm going to show you how we tiled our chicken, duck coop, and possibly other animal coop. The farm is expanding and we don't know what we're going to have next. But this is how we tiled it. My dad is a tile contractor, so he does know what he's doing. Most of the clips are going to be of him doing things just because he knows what he's doing and I don't. And I was filming at the time. But I swear I helped. I wasn't just sitting around doing nothing. So there's going to be a few things how to, but it's mostly just going to show you what happened and the layout, I guess, of the coop. Also, we got a new little space in here. This is actually my closet, a big, like it's a second room closet thing. This is what we're going to be filming in. Let me show you around the room real quick. And then I have a nice little desk for working at. So you might see videos over there and you might see videos over here at the glass table, but it should basically be the same as before, just with a new space. Anyways, let's take a look at these clips. The first thing I'm going to show you is, well, of course, the stars of the show, the chickens and the ducks. It's really the only thing that I'm going to show you of them. But this is when they first came home. We got the chickens about a month before we got the ducklings. The ducklings came shipped and the chicks we picked up from around the area. The ducklings were about a month old when we got them, so by the time we got the ducks they were about 2 months. Anyways, that's them. Also, let's see. The other thing is I'd like to show you a quick look at the shed that we have. It was the existing shed that was right next to the greenhouse, and we still have not cut a door because the run is not finished yet. It'll have to be a separate video. But what you see in here is there's 2x6 and 2x4. The top wood piece that you see is a 2x4, and the bottom is a 2x6. The reason we did this is because we wanted the tile to go up the walls. It would help keep the water in and keep the shed from rotting away, from constantly getting wet. Ducks are extremely messy. The next step in what we're doing is waterproofing. We have two kinds. There is a kind that we rolled on and also a kind that we put along the edges, which is an actual membrane that usually gets mortared on top. In this case, we stapled it, and which is probably not the best idea, but we did that anyways. It's just a chicken coop, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And then what I'm going to show you next is how to mix the Thinset that is underneath the membrane and also underneath the tile. What you need to do is you need to keep pulsing the a mixer, or if you're mixing it yourself, you need to make sure to thoroughly mix it. If you're using the mixing tool attached to the drill, you're going to want to move it up and down slightly and keep pressing the button but not holding it, just to give it a little pulse. And you need to make sure to scrape the edges. It's like cement. Make sure you get all of the dry powder mixed in. What you're going to see next is that we are applying the Thinset to the walls of the chicken coop so that we can adhere the membrane to it, and then the membrane will be stapled down on top of that. And then again, here is the waterproofing, and we stapled ours.
Usually for waterproofing, you don't punch holes in your membrane.
What do you usually do?
You just lay it in there and you float mortar on it.
You're supposed to apply caulking to where it's folded over there at those joints, and we did it in that one corner, and then we figured it's kind of a waste of time because we stapled the membrane, and if we're not going to cover that with caulking, why would we do the rest of it? That's what we decided to do. And here is the tile we used. It's just a cheapo tile. We got this one at Home Depot. Sometimes you can find tile for free. It will definitely be mismatched, but a coop that's smaller than ours can easily be done by finding cheap tile, especially if you live in the city. As for the tiles, there were several different things we used to cut. We used an old school tile cutter, which was pretty interesting. Whoops. We also used a grinder to help us cut around circles, such as, well, the only thing we really used it for was for the drain, which you can see my dad is using a fitting left over from the drain to mark out a circle around where he needs to cut. And then he cuts the edge of that with a grinder. After the drain pieces were set, my dad laid down the Thinset around the drain, and it's laid down on the ground differently than what you would usually do. This side had to be done differently because it was sloped funny because of the membrane. One side was higher than the other. You can see the little dabs that he's doing towards the center of the drain is to raise it up a little bit because the outside is higher, and he also scrapes some of the Thinset off of that outside edge as he's placing it in. And what he's doing to the back of this tile is called back buttering, and it helps the tile adhere to the Thinset that's on the ground, and in most cases the rest of the tile were all laid down with back butter and the Thinset on the ground looking the same as the back butter, not flat and smooth like this. So what you see here now is that all the tile is now finished. It hasn't been grouted yet. The plastic things in there are wedges that are used to keep the tile pretty, not level, but even with each other across the tops. Without the wedges, the tile would slide down and butt up against the bottom, leaving no room for grout. With these grout joints too, you also want to make sure that you keep them clear while you're laying down the Thinset and continue to scrape them out with your trowel. Then the final step is going to be grouting. When you do your grout, you want to make sure that you push it really hard into the cracks, really put some effort into there, and go over it more than once and keep adding grout to it because you don't want any air bubbles in there. The other thing is when you go down to wipe it with your sponge afterwards, you want to, the first few wipes, go ahead and keep it dirty. You do want to still see a layer of grout on the surface of the tiles, but for your final ones, you want to go at a diagonal to the tile grout direction, so you're not scraping grout out of the lines, the little pockets. And you also want to only use one sponge at a time, or one side of the sponge, then clean it, and then, or sorry, use the two sides of the sponge and then clean it, and you want to make sure that last one is really clean. Okay guys, well thanks for watching. Unfortunately that's all I have right now. I will be posting a video within the next couple of weeks, maybe even a month, depends on how much time I have to edit, about how we did the chicken run, and I will do an update on what the coop looks like finished and how the birds have all grown. Ducks are huge. We are almost done with the run as of putting together this video, and it should be done within the next week, but again it all depends on the time I have for editing. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and pop them down below, and I will talk to you guys later.